Hi, hi, hi. Can you hear me? We're going to start. Let me find some music for you. I hope you enjoy the tones we're going to have in the background. We're here on multiple channels. You can see me on TikTok here on my. Hey, Andrea, how you doing? Hi, hi, hi. Um, Always welcome to join. Hi, hi, hi. How you doing? I'm on one side here. I'm on TikTok. Here I'm on Twitch. Here I'm on. No, here I'm nothing. I'm just playing music on that side. Pues voy a ponerme a escribir ahora. ¿Y tú qué, en qué andas? ¿Tienes tiempo para conectarte? ¿Vas a hacer otras cosas? ¿Qué tienes en mente? Thank you very much for the likes. Thank you for joining, for popping in and out. No pressure to stay. I I am very, very entertaining, but I know that I'm too entertaining and you have to get things done. I know. People have lives and all that stuff. I get it. I completely get it. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm just making, what do you say this? I'm just making blah, blah, blah. I'm just talking while, while, while I try to do this. But you will notice that my brain power is not all there because I have to stop doing something to do the other thing. So bear with me, bear with me. That's a bear. You see how I'm also funny? What the hell? What is it that I cannot do? You tell me because I cannot see it. You can someone has to stop me at some point. Okay, someone has to stop me. Hey, hey, sorry that I didn't see it. Oh my goodness. Oh Dios mío. If if you could see them. Okay, okay. If you could. Es que estoy en el ordenador. En el portátil estoy con Twitch. Y está porque mi portátil no da para tanto. Sí, lo sé. Es un ThinkPad, no es un no es uno de estos portátiles para streaming ni nada por el estilo. Yeah. Let me add more. Let's see. What am I even doing? Give me thank you, and I'm going to make you okay, perfect. You had to be. After being with me for 6 hours. Nice. That's awesome. That's yeah. Let me okay. Okay, I'm going to connect you live. Oh,
Yeah, they've gotten real good at censoring.
okay. Now you are. They cannot see you, but they can hear you on Twitch. If that's
Okay.
fine.
Hello.
That's fine.
Okay. They cannot see you though. That's the sad part. So how is life doing? How is life going? To start is
Good. Waiting to get an email back about a job interview at a law firm. Yeah, we were emailing back and forth.
Mhm.
Sent me isn't working.
No.
I don't know what they want me to do.
I'm reading a book, and the FMC is just as unhinged as the MMC, and I'm loving it.
Say more about that. I don't think I got it.
So I'm reading Taming
Thank you.
Saffron,
Mhm.
and like she is more unhinged than the MMC, and it is amazing. Like the MMC is a serial unaliver hitman. She is a trained unaliver, but when I
Mhm.
say she is unhinged, like this girl is psychotic.
Mm. Elaborate.
So there was this guy that came into her room and tried to essay her. She cut off his reproductive organ, cut his esophagus, and then went and made a sandwich with the reproductive part.
Okay.
And
That's
ate it whilst making
that's
eye
something.
contact with the MMC.
Wow! 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 Hi.
I think I've traumatized you.
Yeah, that's that's something definitely.
These books aren't morally grey, they're morally black.
Hi.
Hello.
They're morally black.
Is quite literally what this series is called, the Morally Black series.
That's hilarious. I
There's
like
only
it.
2 of them that are currently out though. 2 of the expected 4.
Okay, I won't be able to see that if I don't do something about it here now. Don't want you to have to see that.
It is so cold here. I had to raise my heat from 75 to 83.
was horrible.
Help is on the way.
Help is on the way, dearie. You know, it's cold.
Are you UK or US?
I'm unfortunately in the US.
That's why I say, like, I thought, like, I've never heard anyone else from the US make a reference to that meme. And I was about to get so excited.
Hi, I'm Dre. I have ADHD and I love memes.
I was so scared to, like, say your name in case I pronounced it wrong, but I was also too anxious to ask.
Oh, please, by all means. You can call me Dre, you can call me Drea, or you can call me D.
What would you prefer?
Any of the three.
Okay.
I respond to all three.
The other day, I said Drea to my phone, and it wrote with a E, and I have to say Dra, yeah, like that. And also, when I think in Spanish, that's the first thing that wants to come out, and I have to remember in English.
Mi nombre es Andrea. Entonces sí es A-N-D-R-E-A.
Vale.
Pero lo pongo así la gente no me encuentra. Porque nací de noche, no anoche.
Nunca había oído esa.
¿No?
No,
Sí, significa como
me encanta.
no nací ayer.
Mhm. I'm young, not stupid. Something like that.
Yeah.
Nací de noche, no anoche. I love it.
I'm here. I appreciate you letting me come up and join your panel. I'm actually enjoying the quiet.
You'll just hear me come out with, like, random shit because of this book. Because she's currently dousing a man in lighter fluid.
Oh man, what a way to go.
To get information about her brother. And the MMC is like, why is this turning me on so much?
Oh.
That's
Because
hilarious.
the MMC is restraining the guy while she is, like, finding creative ways to cause pain.
In this section, how do I?
He wants to interview me right now, so I'll be back in a minute.
Congratulations. Yeah.
romances where the girl is just like a wee, timid, scared little girl. Like, I need more unhinged psycho girls in my TBR.
You need them to lose their mind, and your strength will be the.
Okay, then to say a little bit about this section, it's where oh, no wonder. Let me set the reminder of where we are. I put this up here because that will help me decide what I write, no? Here in this section, since it's still a quest, why is the goal important? Why in the goal is to live right now. Not right now, that's what's going on. It's the since it's the second part, is the introduction of the second plot, is the introduction of the second what the secondary no, not the secondary, the external no, oh, that's the internal one. Their internal journey. Their internal journey is that they are the rebel, and the external one is that the rape. That comes in more important later. Right now, what's important about it is that even though this part can be rape or can be horror, what does it mean to be horror in this section? It's not horror overall, but only horror in this section. So here I just go with the clip starts. That's the fantasy. No, that's the entire thing. That's what has to happen overall. How does that start? So this doesn't start yet. Still not there yet. Let me first do this.
Hello, Wickedly.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, the mod stuff's being weird this time. Seeing if I was still a mod because it was being really weird.
Who?
I had to type in a message in the chat to see if my mod stuff was still working because it's being really weird on my end this
Mhm.
time.
Let me see. You. Yeah, you are. Manage. Yeah.
Honestly, I have no clue what's going on with it today.
Mm.
Well, I'm
Yes, of course.
I appreciate seeing you when you come into my friends' lives.
Thank you very much for joining, and see you later.
What genre is it you write? Sorry.
I write psychological thrillers.
I will add one of them to my TBR soon. It is a mile long, but I will add it to it.
All you have to do is look up my. As a matter of fact, I can show you. This is the first one
Ooh.
to read.
Is it a series or is it standalones?
It's a series. It's one storyline. You'll need to start with this.
Okay, I will add it to my TBR.
I am in no hurry for anybody to read my books, but if you read it, I appreciate it. And when you're done, please give me a review.
I will post a video about it and I will tag you in it, and I will also put a review on the Zon.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Wait, wickedly says wait. Okay. Wait, what? Who? You can find my books on Amazon. You can find them online on Barnes and Noble. Pretty much anywhere my books are. I also have some physical copies available for purchase. And I'm running a special right now between now and Valentine's Day. So if you want to know more, message me. That is very cool, Wickedly. Just get in touch with me on the TikTok. Send me a message. Add me. Send me a message. And ask me all the questions you want. But I do have some physical copies of the 4 that are out right now available. See, I love this. This is why I love TikTok, because we can all get together and share each other's art.
Yeah, that's why I like when the banana went into effect in America, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, where's everyone?
I know, right?
How did it go?
It's a text-based interview.
Oh,
Ew.
I know. All this anxiety for what?
Like, real. Like, I would have psyched myself up to like seeing people I don't know.
I got up. I showered.
You got ready for that interview. You were like, yeah, let's do this. And then you're like,
And I rushed, made my coffee, ready to come out.
No.
I'm so sorry it wasn't a vocal one.
mhm. Yeah, at least camera would have been cool.
Yes, Wickedly, you can message me for physical copies and I'll give you all the information.
Don't forget to follow everyone that's here and
As a matter of fact, let me see if I can
and
find.
send tap the screen, follow.
Send me a follow so I can add it to my bookmarks. So when I'm looking for my next book, I just go through it.
Try to add your neighbor next to you if I can get her to pop up.
Right, if you tap her like her box.
Won't let me tap her pop.
Sorry, Dre, what pronouns do you prefer?
They, them.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I apologize. Their box will not pop up.
It's okay. I followed you. Once you pop off at any point, you can just follow me back.
Okay, that works for me too. Alrighty, beautiful book people. I'm gonna leave you all for a while, but thank you guys for the follow. Hugs and love to you all. Keep writing those books. Keep reading. Much love and support to you.
Bye. I'm sending you away if you can't see it.
now it's
No, it's text-based.
text-based.
As someone with piercings and nail hair, you will understand how much of a pain in the ass it is to find a job that will not turn you away because of it.
Oh, I was fully prepared to put this is a remote position, thankfully. But I was ready to pull all these out and put my hair up in a hat or something. I was gonna put a scarf on and
Yeah,
yeah,
it
no.
could have been.
It's I've got 20 piercings and bright blue hair. And it's anytime I apply for a job, I'm automatically turned away. And it's just
Oh, but it's okay. I don't think it's as bad as the US where a job can turn you away for being a woman.
Yeah, now we are back to that.
I get it
Yep.
looks like a care kit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just such fun times.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. What is everybody up to?
Repeat that.
What is everybody up to?
Let me.
What are you writing actually?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I'll show you. This is. I'm writing chapter 2, and this I'm just putting all this in place.
I wish I could be as organized as you.
It's not as organized. It has become very organized because I like systems. But at the beginning, it was just a story I dreamt about, and I was like, let me write. And I started writing, but I realized that I had no idea about pacing, story structure. I had some natural storytelling in me, so it had some coherency to it. But once I learned a little bit about story structure, general conventions, um, good pacing, character development, and stuff like that, different types of style. And I used to think that, yeah, you had to be or a pantser or a plotter, but at the end of the day, you need to be both. Your story needs to have some type of plot. Your story has to be written, so you have to pants it. It reaches a point where it doesn't matter how much you plotted, you have to sit down and write. So at the end, you have to be a little bit of both. So realizing that helped me like put aside my ideas about writing, what I thought a good book was, what I thought storytelling really is. So readapting this new perspective helped me see that most of the stories are the same story, and depending on different cultures, the stories are told in different ways. So I this entire thing. Wait, well, you cannot see it, but I guess the people on Twitch can see this now. But I broke down what happens in a mystery in the entire plot. What are the things that every mystery has? What are the things that every fiction has? Every romance, and every story at the end is the same one. Every quest has the same structure of a quest, and you can tell the same story just changing the elements you focus on, from a comedy into a tragedy, from rags to riches into a budget and return. Every story has the potential to be something else if you interpret the elements through that lens. So I broke down what makes overcoming the monsters the different from a rebirth story. What makes rags to riches different from a quest. So this story that I'm writing, every 3 chapters, I change the story structure. So at the beginning is a quest, then is rag to riches, then the third one is overcoming the monster, and slowly I just started adapting all these things into the great scheme of things that I had, the big story that I had, breaking things down and placing them in the thing.
Man, I
So
wish I had that capability. I feel like that Excel sheet that you have is how my brain feels. How it feels, not
mhm.
how it can.
Yeah, this is how I feel my brain feels too. Like uh, everything is connected. How? This is how it's connected. Now I finally put what I see in my head somewhere in paper.
Sadly, I could never be an author because my brain is like a really old computer with like 30 tabs open. 5 of them are frozen and there's music playing somewhere. It's the most accurate representation of my
That's
brain I've
hilarious.
ever heard.
But anyone could be an author. If you're not scared of putting your work out there, you can be an author. The thing is that most authors are perfectionists. We want to deliver the perfect story, everything said with the perfect sentence, so it delivers the perfect emotion for that section or for that part, and we are scared of being judged because saying that you don't like someone's book is like saying you don't like them. That's how it feels. And that's the only thing stopping people from writing books. Because you could write a book, just type in your keyboard and say it's an experimental style, self-publish it, and you're already an author. It doesn't even need to be good. People don't need to read it. You could that's if being an author was someone's goal, that's how easy it would be. But people that really like writing want to deliver something, want to deliver themselves, because at the end it has that, I don't know, cathartic, or it's like catharsis. Once you finish writing your stories, like, wow, that's me. I don't know, that's scary.
That's why I really enjoyed doing the writing prompts on Corey's live
Yes, that was very fun.
because it was just like a wee silly thing where it's like it rewoke the love for writing I have. But like my if I was to do like books, it would be like wee novellas because
Hmm.
my brain would not be able to focus through a full like writing a full novel.
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't be able to focus on the same story.
That's
So
how.
sorry if you hear me chewing on eating Pringles.
What kind of Pringles?
Texas barbecue.
Mm.
I like
They're the only ones I
salt
have in my
vinaigrette.
room. I'm making nachos for dinner tonight though, which I'm so excited about because it's like what? It's 3:30 for me. So I will be making dinner in about an hour to an hour and a half.
What time did you say it is?
At 3:30.
10:30 here. My favorite Pringles are salt vinaigrette or salt vinegar.
Me too.
They are so good.
So good. But
Yes.
my favorite salt and vinegar chips are kettle cooked chips because they're crunchy.
My favorite
I like the
is the
lights.
spicy sour cream and onion Pringles.
Hmm.
They make spicy.
You've never had them?
I don't like spicy.
Uh, I love spice. It's like sour cream and onion, and then it's also chili and lime.
I really like vinegar in general. Such a nice flavor. And great chemistry behind it as well.
It doesn't feel very interviewy.
What are the questions?
There hasn't been any. There's been a here. I'm going to send you what the job description is, which I already have. And he was like, "Can you handle this?" Yeah, I applied for it. What do you mean?
That's hilarious.
Oh, with a starting range of 25 to 30 the hour. Sir, sign me up.
Oh, she's getting off with a knife. I was not expecting that.
Hello.
Gracias. Do you hear that?
What?
They do this.
No.
You don't hear anything. Salud.
Thank you.
If you
Right.
could,
How can I say that my challenging area will be working with customers because customers are pains in the asses without saying that?
you have to say, fuck them customers. No offense.
No, for real. Because he's like, oh, like, what challenges do you think you might have on the job? And I'm like, well, I can learn systems quickly. I'm effective technologically, and I can operate autonomously while remaining goal oriented. But I think the area that will challenge me the most will be working with customers. Why? Well, because I can't say they're all pains in the asses and they think that they're entitled to assholes.
Yeah, great question. I have no answer.
Yeah, same.
Yup, that's
Blame it on social anxiety.
Huh?
Blame it on social anxiety.
Eh?
It's not completely wrong.
It's not completely wrong. But I
It's
can't
just
just
how you
blatantly be like,
hire
I have social anxiety, so I can't work with your customers. So that knocks something out of my list that you now have to hire somebody else for.
Mm.
you have to say that you are very bad at making time for yourself because once you start working, you
No, gross.
that you cannot stop working, and the moment you have an assignment that makes you happy, and you tend to leave your social life aside to focus on the job.
Whatever. I just left it at, I think the area that will challenge me the most will be working with customers, period. And if he asks why, then I'll give him an answer. But now I have a little bit more time to think of an answer. So.
That is true.
Hey. Nice to see you. That's Yes Books. YS Books on Twitch. I didn't see the notification.
Do you ever make your coffee with honey?
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so
I
good.
put a salted caramel and chocolate fudge syrup in mine.
My mic is low.
Ooh. That sounds really good.
Is this better?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Oh,
Tossing forward.
I keep on forgetting you've also got Twitch open.
is this better? Oh, much better.
But yeah, I got like a
Good
big,
to know.
like I got like a liter bottle of it from TK Maxx.
Do you hear the people that are talking on
Yum.
Bluetooth?
And it was only like £6.
You cannot see them, but I think you can hear them. Is it distracting? I hope it's not distracting. I'm trying to find what's the.
I think it might be linked in his bio.
What'd I do?
It says that
Huh?
your live content contains
you
themes
mean,
that
what did you
some
do?
may find uncomfortable.
I got a restriction. I was bad.
What did you do?
I didn't know. I don't know what I did.
Nicotine stick, I think.
Oh, I smoked. Oops, my bad.
Oh,
My bad.
That's why my camera, like, even if I could turn my camera on, it would stay off.
oh. Oh, you can't hear them clear.
That's why I prefer Discord calls, because I don't have to hide shit and I don't have to filter what I say.
Is that better? Well, I don't know if better or. Well, now they're not talking bad.
How's the interview going?
Oh, wow. Thing is,
I don't know if he's offering me the job,
it becomes very loud for me.
but he said, all right, we have a part-time and we have full-time. And I said, okay, full-time. And it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. which is
Better.
not
Perfect.
terrible.
How you doing?
That's actually really good.
People cannot
Right?
see it, but I'll say. YS Books say
How
hello.
much are you getting paid for it?
Then we talked about the mic,
Starting is
and now we know
25
that
to
it
30.
sounds louder.
That's actually really good for the
Oh,
amount of
but
hours
if
you're
you're
working.
connected, you can see.
Right.
What am I saying?
Especially for just starting out.
Right.
That's how
If that job was available
disconnected
in the UK,
from
believe
it I
me, I
am.
would be applying.
I don't even know how it works. I've tried to add the chat to the
Okay,
to the
what's the
screen.
best means to communicate with a customer?
No.
Chat
I'm talking
or call?
to.
I can do chat all day. Let me
I'm
chat with
also
them.
live on
I'll
TikTok,
chat. But a call? You think I want to sit on a
so
call? No.
I'm on both
not doing
sides.
It's like when my lecturers in college try to get in contact
Yup.
with me, I'm just like, send me a text. Don't fucking call me.
Yeah.
What are you up to? Are you
If
writing?
you call
Are you
me, it's getting
reading?
declined.
Are you going to get live soon? I think if I do this, because you don't need to see that side. Oh, you're a writer. Nice. Yes, well, I think we talked the other day. If you want to say anything for self promotion, feel free. I'm sure people would love to hear about your writing. So feel free to talk a little bit about it if you want. No pressure, but I'm sure people up here would value it. Yeah, self promote a little bit.
Oh my god.
looks better on the overall thing. I think a little bit better, but there's still some space to eat. No, I think if we did like this, now good enough, good enough. We still get the whole experience. Yeah, it's not what I was, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant, okay? Not the whole experience, but the whole. I'm so stupid. Oh, my HelloFresh thing is saying subscribe to HelloFresh, use my code, blah blah blah. Thank you, Stream Elements, for doing that. I forgot. That's awesome. You create audiobooks mostly. Well, if anyone is interested in audiobooks and stories from a writer that focuses on audiobooks mostly, please don't forget to follow YS Books. Shout out, thank you very much for tagging, for joining in and commenting and everything. And if you notice that I get distracted and I miss it, I apologize for that. But it might happen here and there because of how the constraints of my medium. The constraints of my medium. I'm going to get something to drink. Oh yes, yes, yes. Feel free to join whenever you want. Don't join if you don't.
Malachi, you should come up. You're muted, by the way.
I'll be back in a second getting some
Pardon?
coffee and some tea.
I hope Zen knows that he's muted.
I think he does.
Okay.
He does it a lot on live. He'll mute himself for a while. Last time we did a big group live, Zen was writing, showered, exercised, and made food. All on the same live whilst they'd mute themselves. So we all just sat there gabbing away. Because I've got so many friends in America, my sleep schedule is like a complete shit show. Like I'm up till like 8 a.m. my time talking to everyone.
Jeez.
It's like my sleep schedule is already a shit show, but like having friends in America didn't make it much better.
I want to show you something before I continue writing. This is. Let me rename this so I know what I'm writing about here. these are the four. Okay, let me get comfortable before I show it to you. I don't want anyone in the comments being mean about it because it's not good, eh? So you need to chill, okay? So it goes like this. Hakim peers through the heart of the forest on the day of the quest. Let's go, Paul, before it starts to snow, Hakim says, sprinting towards the tree of life. The sun is on its apex, minutes shy from the cliffs. Sweat drips off his face, soaking his shirt. Paul flying by his side. Bzz, bzz, Paul buzzes. You're right, we won't miss the quench this time. Hakim has trained a whole cycle to survive the deadly competition. Deadly 3 minutes in which warriors from all around the tree, dragonflies, and Hakim fight to be the ones to get to the fruit of creation. Find me at the base of the tree before the cliffs. I'll make sure you find the fruit, Jason said. The cliff wasn't going to happen for another couple hours. Don't let them see you, he said before leaving to meet Nayara. Will she be there? Hakim asked. He didn't hear me. Hakim misthought. That wasn't the last time Hakim saw Jason and Nayara for what matters. One cycle, 28 eclipses. For Hakim, a lifetime. A lifetime of training alone, eating alone, living alone. A lifetime of what ifs, maybes, and who knows. The last time Hakim saw Nayara, it was a day like this one. The day was hot, he was out of breath, and they were sweating. We're almost there. We're beating the night. We'll get there before the eclipse, Hakim tries to say. Darkness interrupts him short. Fuck. Sheathed by the night, Hakim sneaks into the tree of life. The coppery stench of blood soaks the air. Bzz, bzz, Paul says. No, Paul, you can't eat them yet. We don't have time, Hakim says, giving Paul the end of a long rope. Bzz. No, be fast. The large cloud that forms Paul wearily flies up the tree trunk, miles high towards the first row of branches. Click. Hakim whistles and clicks his fingers, leaving them in the quick response and hand sign command. Paul increases his speed, pinning his body in a double row of dragonflies. Ah! Silence. Hakim takes a step to his left. No. Hakim takes a step to his right, followed by a shorter step back, followed by a smaller step forward. Bam! The end of the rope pulls by Hakim. What the? Hakim was surprised. His rope wasn't that heavy. Hakim opens his eyes wider, taking in more light. Oh, I said no. On the ground, a bunch of clean bones inside the fighter's clothes. Bzzz, Paul says flying down. A tap of blood drops on Hakim. Oh! Hakim enrages. Bzz, 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 bzz. Paul laughs. Snow melts upon contact with Hakim's skin. Well, that's the first 400 words of the old version. I'm not sure how I feel about that. There's too much going on in too little of a period of time. And this is the one that I think sounds better. Okay. Hakim waited for Nayara all night, anxious, awake, restless, heartbeat racing, breathing shallow, thoughts all over the place. The grass under Hakim was soft and thick, his bed for the night. It was a hot summer morning now, but the breeze cooled Hakim's exposed chest. Last time she was late, Hakim said, Bzzz. A group of dragonflies buzzed around him in agreement. She will come during the night, Hakim said, but she didn't. She will be here in the morning, Hakim said, but she wasn't. She will appear right before the eclipse like last time, he said. But was she? Hakim asked himself. Hakim stood up and stretched, up and down, left and right. Ah, he grunted. On the ground, an imprint of his silhouette. Bzz, 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 bzz. Yes, don't worry. We'll be there before it starts snowing. The sea of flowers reached further than the eye could see. Greens and blues as the canvas, red, yellows, and pinks as the accent, thanks to the flowers. Thousands of metallic dragonflies hunting the few insects left. We have plenty of time, Hakim fluffed his bed, quote unquote. Wake me up before the eclipse starts. Bzzz, bzzz, Paul said, but Hakim ignored him. The last time Hakim and Najera were together was in the same spot. First and last kiss. Okay, wake me up in 20 minutes. If she doesn't come, we will. The night came abruptly, and despite Blob, eh, the night came abruptly, and despite Paul's attempt to wake Hakim up, he kept turning around and dozing back to sleep. Ouch, that hurts, Paul bites Hakim. Hakim woke up from what he thought was a 20-minute nap. Oh, fuck. Bzz, bzz, Paul repeated. Hakim shivered. The temperature dropped fast. The dragonflies that populated the garden were no longer there. But a group of loyal to Hakim stayed. The first snowflakes melted on Hakim's chest. Hakim pulls out of his backpack a top made of short and thick hair over a thin layer of skin. Not well suited for the cold, but better than nothing. Bzzz. Yes, I'm ready. Hakim muscle stiffened because of the cold. His joint hurt because he was no longer 20 years old, but Hakim was ready for the quench because he had been training for almost a decade. Darkness was absolute. The garden was home to plants and animals alike, except during the eclipse. Bzzz. Let's go. We only have 3 minutes to get the fruit. And that's this one. It's still 400, but the other one with 400 words. We had so many things happen. So many things. In this one is just him and the garden, and we introduce that it's going to have an eclipse. We understand that during an eclipse it gets cold, so how we make the bigger difference, that's from summer to winter. So it's more it's it's a bigger difference. So I don't know, I think this one sounds better. I just call it well written. Quote unquote, no. Yep. Okay. So that's it. I think I like this one more. And in that note, I think I can write this chapter 2. Oh, I have already finished writing this section. I didn't even see it. I can just move on. You know?
I've read 40% of this book today.
Ooh,
I've
that's a lot.
just hit 40% now. I got the recommendation off, like the wee slide book recommendations that come up on TikTok.
Mhm.
It's just the wee swipe throughs. Oh, 1 second.
Yo.
Sorry, my staff came in about something.
I'm still in this like job interview thing, and dude is like, "Tell me about yourself." And I'm like, I don't even know who I am right now.
That is like the worst question ever because like I pick little bits of my personality from like TV shows and books.
I feel you.
Yeah, I don't like I don't know who like, I'm applying to your law firm. Do you think I'm into law by any way? I watch Law and Order, bro. That's as much law as you get from me.
Oh, I love Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, SVU is top tier, top tier.
That shit at like 3 in the morning with a bunch of munchies is the best thing ever.
Hell yeah.
Have I told you already that your hair looks really good?
Hmm?
Have I told you already that your hair looks really good?
Oh, thank you.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
love
it
the
does.
blue.
It looks
Thank
really
you.
good.
Oh, there's pink and purple as well.
Oh yeah, I was live and I dumped a bunch of hair dye bottles on my head and I said, "Well, we'll see how this turns out," and went like this.
It
I would.
Yep,
I'm debating if I should.
works.
So I've got blue hair at the moment, and I'm like debating whether I should dye the ends purple and let it fade up.
I am a really bad influence, and I will say, do your whole head.
I'm not doing my whole head because I bleached the fuck out of my hair to go blue.
Oh, same. Except it's fortunate but unfortunate. But like my hair grows really fast, way too fast for my liking.
Like I need to do my roots soon, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Same.
Like doing my roots is my least favorite thing about having bright hair.
I love when people like compliment my faded hair and they're like, "Oh my god, did you just do your hair? It looks so nice." And I'm like, "No, it's faded. It's faded, bro. This is from washing my hair. Like, I think it looks ridiculous right now, but if you like it, I mean, top off."
It's like the big confidence, like it's like the biggest confidence boost ever.
Yeah. Listen, this whole like text interview is taking a lot longer than I'd like. Can we get to the point where you tell me, "Hey, the job is yours"? This is in Oklahoma. was the longest fucking interview ever. About it.
Even video interviews don't take that fucking long.
Like, asked me a few questions and goes, all right, that'll be all. Our HR office will look into your details and reach out if you deem fit. And I said, okay. I said, thank you so much. Is there a time frame for when I should hear back if I am deemed fit?
Let's cross fingers. Good luck.
Crossing my fingers for you.
Usually you get a response within 48 hours when hiring, so hopefully you'll hear from us later this week. Enjoy the rest of your day. He emails me, you got the job. I'm gonna put it out in the universe.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do now? We're going to shove the presidency down Trump's throat. I'm going to explain. Hold on. Here's what we are not going to do and what we should not do. First of all, because I made a video yesterday saying Elon Musk did
China is now saying that
Whose heartbeat can I fucking hear?
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Not me.
And it's about to get really bad too because shit. So it's all about what happened.
9-team series, written.
Shoot, I hope I'm saying
once we start a relationship.
Right now.
I think it's you, Racy.
I don't know why. There's nothing around. It's like you're not even sat on me.
But yeah, I think it's you because when it sounds, your square goes blue.
And my heart isn't going that fast. I'm not in the panic attack. I actually did go and check that there just to be sure.
I invited Carlos to come hang out with us if that's okay. Yeah. It's a Carlos. Carlos.
Hey.
That was weird.
Huh?
I said that was weird that it didn't show up.
Yeah, very weird. I restarted my phone and it was fine, so. I figured before I put the tinfoil hat on, I'll troubleshoot.
Yeah. Dude, that was the longest fucking text interview ever.
This is wild. This is wild. I've never had one, a text interview, so.
Never.
Yeah, I was on here with Zen and Reese, and dude out of nowhere was like, I'm available now. And I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go. And then I get back on, I'm like, it's a text interview.
I was just so annoyed for you because you got up and got ready and everything.
Dude, I woke up out of my slumber and I saw the email and I was like, oh, bet. Like, I could do like 12:30 my time. That's cool. Like, let's do that. Like, I have time to get up and, you know, mentally prepare myself. And then he hits me with the, I'm available now. And I'm like, I'm not.
Do you think it went okay?
I'd like to think so. I'd like
Yeah.
to sit here and say, like, yeah. I think I was very clear. And then, like, he asked me what my word per minute is, like, my reading. And I, like, super quickly, I was like, let me take a test and find out. And I type between 80 and 100 words per minute. And I'm like, damn.
50 is the average, like 50 or 30. Yeah, I think 50 is the average.
Yeah, I was like, 80. And he was like, okay.
That's kind of cool. He was cool with you just taking a test real quick.
Yeah. You just, like, look up word per minute test and you can test yourself and it tells you right off of a minute. And I did 80. I think it was like 85 words per minute.
As a hiring person, that would make me go, oh shit, okay. You know what I mean? Just the fact that you were like, I don't know, but let me find the answer for you right now.
Yeah.
That's a good look, I think.
So, and then he asked me, he said, what drives your productivity? And I was so tempted to just be like, I have ADHD, bro. Just keep me busy. But I didn't.
Good call.
I didn't. I said, I'm a dedicated and dynamic professional with a passion for problem solving and innovative thinking. My experiences have taught me to leverage unique strengths and weaknesses, driving my productivity and creativity in a fast-paced environment. I thrive on challenges and possess a strong ability to think outside the box, which allows me to approach tasks from multiple angles and generate effective solutions. I am personable and approachable. I am open to learning from my mistakes and reach out when I need help. which is all so bullshit. All of that was bullshit. I will not reach out for help because I have too much of an ego to be like, I can't solve this. I'm not going to need to go to a man. Fuck you.
Fuck it, bro.
I was like, when should I expect to hear back? He was like, within 48 hours. And I was like, oh God, it's so anxiety for the next 2 days. Great. But if it's all remote and chat based, I don't even have to be on the phones.
Yeah, hopefully it works out.
So. But it was over an hour of this shit. I'm like, damn, bro.
I have a video interview tomorrow.
Woot woot.
Hopefully I can slide into that and bank my severance.
You got this.
I don't really get... So, I tend to interview well. You know what I mean? Hashtag masking.
Listen, I was ready to full on put a mask on for a video interview. Like I was getting ready to put a scarf on my head, take out my rip them out. But I was prepared. And you're like, okay, this interview we conducted text based, and I was like, excuse me, what are you talking about?
That's funny. Oh man.
Oh, and then I responded to dude yesterday, the thing that I sent you.
Yeah.
And I was like, how people view themselves, understand their identity, and express themselves is entirely unique to each person, including yourself. You identify as a man, dress as a man, talk like a man, etc. Realizing you don't fit in the cramped, nondescript box an uncaring society deems our place is the first step in self-discovery. Stepping away from traditional gender norms to find a term, form, or identifying moniker that expresses the sense of self that is representative of that person shouldn't be thought of as a threat to those who do fit inside the traditional norm. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Furthermore, not calling someone by their preferred gender after they express it to you is a violation of boundary and mutual respect. For example, you expect me to call you by your name. If I were to call you by another name, perhaps even an offensive one, it would be an issue. It's the same.
Yep, I agree.
And I've gotten no response.
Well said.
Those are not my words. Those are the words of Sloan. Because I reached out to Sloan and I said, I need your help with something. And they said, what? And I sent it to them and they were like, this is how I would respond. And I said, cool, I'm going to use that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hashtag community, man.
And then they were like, do I know this person? And I was like, no, but this is the person that you should know so that you can steer clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's unfortunate.
And the conversation started because he was like, so I realized during that live that there may have been miscommunication. You're not okay with the she and her, or are you okay with it? And I was like, where's the miscommunication?
Let me ask you if you're okay with it, and then tell you why I think it's not okay.
Yeah.
That don't make sense.
Yeah. And so I was like, the way I responded was, LMFAO, yeah, I'm ET. Because he's known to, joke like that.
Oh.
And so I was like, yeah, ET. He goes, shut. I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And then he, sent me that big-ass thing, and I was like, huh?
Where are you at? Coming out of left field. What the fuck?
I was like, I really sat here and I called Russ, and I was dissecting the message with him because I was very confused as to, should I be offended? Should I not? Is this curiosity, or is this, did you just call me a cult?
Right, it seemed to be, using the guise of understanding, wanting to understand, but actually just trying to project personal feelings about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think this sounds better now. Yeah, in this part, we're going to raise her position by increasing the distance. So we're moving forward in these terms of what's going on, of her finding the fruit, but we're complicating things, we're making it more dramatic. So what we're going to do is introduce the different types of character that she is. In what ways is she different? So we introduce different parts, different ways, and the fact that we're not doing it perfect improves the story, because those things that we don't do perfect are things that no one else could do. That introduces personality. So to all this, I want to say is that embrace the mistakes you make in your writing, because that makes your writing more interesting, makes what you say more important. It's Zen the Hunt, but with two T's at the end. Mhm. Yes. Nice. I'm writing and now I have the other audio because it's focus writing time. So, well, now I guess for 2 minutes, it's going to be just telling you guys that's why when you see that I remove the mute, when I mute myself, it's like I switch to the other side, talk about what I'm working on, and then I come back to here and I add you guys. But when I'm so what you see in the that it's yeah the thing about this is that the organized parts it's better when they are wrong. For example, here I'm supposed to be talking about the ultimate battle in this section, but in reality, I'm going to talk about what's some motivation behind um, taking the fruit. Well, it makes sense in the overall narrative, but just like this right now, just not much. But yeah, thank you. Yes, please. So, as I was saying, this section we are going to introduce. In this section, we introduce the fantasy on one side and the internal struggle, the one of rebelling against the norms. She's supposed to be a fighter, but she doesn't want to fight. She's supposed to do all these things that she doesn't want to engage with because that's not her. She found in Hakim someone that sees that part of her that she's not. Even though she's a strong fighter, it's not fighting that brings her nature to her nature out. So after training with these people for the last 10 years, now it's a moment to leave. But since she's done something, uh, well, she on her way, everyone is treated like on one side they're part of a community and on another they're just a cell in the group. So at the end of the day, oh, I see your comment now. I love spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. I don't know how to make them work, but I love spreadsheets. So now she's risking her position, but one of the group triggers one of the tree sprouts. Nagar jumps out of her hiding spot, and she says, now we have to see that what we're saying in this section, what we're going to follow through is putting her personality because everything she does should show who she is as a character. So the fact that she comes out is not that she's just coming out of the bushes, but she's doing it for a reason. So she's coming out to rebel against the idea of having to be with someone just because they're both powerful. That's the introduction of that plot line. So there are many themes are mm, that are explored, even though we don't dive directly into them. explore like the idea of power. What does it mean to be powerful? What does it mean to have choice? What does it mean? All these things are not directly addressed, but they're in the background, and they happen by themselves simply because we have powerful and non-powerful characters. So the way they choose to use their power says a lot about them, and all this is fantasy. Any correlation to reality is merely coincidence. Is this too loud? I hope the music is not too loud. And the good thing about writing it like this is that I can focus on one single thing. A part of me wants to keep writing about random stuff that are happening later, but this way I can focus on what's going on right now. What are they doing right now? So is what makes a race a position. Avoid getting smashed by the we have noticed that there are three colors. So the three colors reference the three natures of this story. Here we have the third one is horror or the external personality. So since she's the Rick, we have to see the beginnings of and she's a rebel. We have to see the negative effects of those personalities. What does the Rick have negatively that could be horrific in this scene? Because those are the things that are going to give us the type of story we have. Since we're trying to write a romance fantasy horror, we don't have the horror very present in this section, but it has to be introduced. In the third part, the horror takes a main stage, but we see it not from a horrific point of view, but from a romantic and a fantastical point of view. Then, in the last one, we don't have the romance as present because the romance takes a secondary stage and the main stage is the fantasy and the horror. We are setting up the story for the future. Hey chat, what is it that you're saying? I cannot see it. I cannot see what the chat is saying. Sorry for that. Hey, it says, sorry to be a burden. Two quick notes, music is in stream side. Font size comes out pixeled but readable. What's stream side? Hey, Godhead, thank you very much for the. I don't know what does a stream side mean. Music is in stream side. That does mean that I cannot play music while this is copyright free music. So I'm not sure I'm following. Let me make sure that I'm following Raya as well. Raya. Yeah, we are. I'm following you. And oh, stream side is so you cannot hear the music. Music. Oh, I shouldn't play the music. Let me see. That's curious. You can't hear it. You can't hear the music. It's like I notice it now. That's not right. But if I talk, oh damn, that's the okay. You can't hear the music. That I don't understand why. Yesterday it was working. Thank you for telling me. Let me follow you just because you have been so helpful. Let me make sure I'm following. No, I'm trying to put the music. It's not working. know, Isa? I don't know why it's not working. No. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, what to do to make it work. Oh, interesting. This should be working easily. Because that is not working either. Okay, now I think you can hear it. I don't know what it was. Maybe I had it too low. Thank you so much for being very, very helpful. I really appreciate that. You wanted to know that I really appreciate it. Now it's just like, let me start it from the beginning because this is the song I like. Mhm. I hope you can hear it. And thank you very much for acknowledging the story structure. And yeah, in the future I have intention of explaining how it works and how to use it to improve a story. You cannot write a story from zero. Well, you can, but it would be a generic story. It won't have anything special to it. But if you already have a story and you use these to enhance it, perfect. That's it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's easy if you have something. If you don't, it's a lot of thinking and rethinking. How the horror and fantasy feed off each other. Yes, that's here the it requires some re-understanding of what horror or fantasy means, because within the and what it means for each section is not just about being gore and having dismemberment or murders or things like that, but it's more about what's the scary thing within this moment. What's the thing that could scare them or that could go against their goal? Because the scary thing is already introduced within the great scheme of things, within the greatest part of the story. So these mini horrors are not scares per se, but they are moments of tension. So we go from the thing that's horrific about this would be someone else getting the fruit and now them being hunted because they feel like they have a claim over her. So in order to put an end of that to that, she has to make a decision. Does she become one in the place, like one big person in the place, so she risk it all and just going to hide in the rest of her life? We already know the decision she makes, so it's not so much about that, but we're trying to see what it means for her to make this decision. And the idea of betrayal here is that on one side she doesn't want the fruit, the fruit of creation, but on another side she doesn't want anyone else to get it. That's where, but that we introduce later because that's the rebel work. So since, how does the rebel show as a horror here? Well, she's going to fight them, and she fights them because, um, well, because that's in their nature. They're a fighter type of people, but they only take it this far during the quench. That's part of the experience. So mm, is tension the top of the graph and horror spikes it, or is the horror more of a pattern? Well, the what determines what's horror is down here. Let me show you in the graph. You see this, you see that there are 8 sections, no? So well, Yeah, this one looks better. There are 8 sections. Each, you see the lines that one is orange, one is yellow, and the other one is green? Well, the horror happens in the green ones. That's where the horror takes a most center stage in everything happening. It's not only the horror that it takes a central space here, but it has some repercussions early on because we have to see it being introduced before we see it happen. So the horror takes a center stage, especially in section 3. Why on section 3? Because that's the one we have for horror, because it takes the third plot. And upwards trends just means that we're following the most important plot. Downwards trend means that we follow the less important plot. Well, yes, the least important plot, or the secondary plot, or tertiary plot. It just means that we have a change in the things that are happening because we need to create contrast. So we have as you see here, section 1, it has an upwards trend. Even though it has down, up, down, it's to create the fast engagement part of the story. But it has mostly an upwards trend. That's the most important one, because the downwards trend is coming on section 2. So this means that if this is a romance in the first part, it has to be more important that we show that it's a romance. Then in the second one that's going down, just means that if there's anything else that we want to say about this story, we can say it now, because we have already established that this is a romance. So since we've already shown that this is a romance, next we show in what ways it's not a romance, as demonstrated by the downwards trend. And then we have the upwards trend, that we've already shown that it's a romance, so we can take the space to explain something else. And later on, when we're writing, we realize that this section, the fantasy and the romance, are exactly the same section. They're talking about friends and allies. So since these two sections, these two are talking about friends and allies, the one that is more pertinent to our MC would be this one, the horror. And since my story has demons, in the horror is where I show in what way these demons are demons. And the demons in an upwards trend doesn't mean that something good happened. It means that we show exactly what the demons are. And then we go into section 4 that has a strong downwards trend. This strong downwards trend indicates that for my story, since it's a romance here, what do the enemies have to gain? We can show this by a positive way, by making them seem like allies. And here, all the things that they gain on this section, they are gaining them for the enemy. This section should have us feel like unsettling. That's why in terms of the horror is section 6. It's section 6 because it's one of the biggest emotions that we have. So the fact that this is like medium, then this one grows, then this one goes lower, and this last one goes up. What do we have here? Aikisho Tenketsu. And we just introduced the anime theme, or the Eastern storytelling within our story without having to dive too much into it. What did we do? We introduced the character or the world, the horror. Then we make the horror stronger. We have a twist, and then the conclusion. And that's Kisho Tenketsu. But overall, in the big scheme of things, it's a hero's journey, save the cat is meant for Western audiences because at the end of the day, Western audiences are going to be more probable the ones to buy my book. So the overall story is meant for American audiences. And if it's made for American audiences because of globalization, is going to be more widespread than any other one. But I also enjoy anime, and as you can see it here, well, I don't know if these last four are Kisho Tenketsu, and in these sections, the horror will take more precedence because, for example, in this section, horror is the number 8. The number 8 is where the horror wins, but the horror is the third one. So it ends before the story ends, making it seem that the horror is going to fix, even though we are going to keep having its lingering consequences, as you can see on this part. This green indicates that we're going to have lingering consequences of the horror that are going to ramify up to the end because we have these things going on. I know I say many things and I'm a bit random here and there. I change topics because I geek too hard on this. So at the end, the graph is not there to say the spikes are just there to show you to what level. And if you see that there are lines that go from 1 to 4, the first line can be understood as things that the MC want or that they're going to have. So we start the story with them having 2 things that at some point in the story they're going to lose. So they have 2 things and they are trying to get one. They lose the one they wanted, and in the process of losing the one they wanted, they lose another thing. Feeling like they could not touch rock bottom. There's no lower than this than losing the second thing. And then we can have them recover it thanks to friends. And because of enemies, they lose it again. But there's still this opportunity of gaining it back, so they gain them back just to lose everything almost at the end. And once they have lost everything, we give them everything but the last thing. The last thing, they cannot have it, but they have to feel like they're going to get it. And that can be, if it's a horror, the spikes mean horrific events happen. If it's a fantasy, this introduces things that the MC gains fantastically. So in a way, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry if I made it seem like you were wrong. You are absolutely right. The spikes indicate in a horror, the spikes indicate the horrific spikes. Here, the introduction of the inciting incident of the horror in section 3 indicates how the horror affects the allies. In number 5 is how the MC understands the horror, all the things that we need to learn about the horror in order to destroy it. And then number 6, we have the ultimate fight with the horror. And then scene 7, you see how it's a spike down, is the allies are winning. The allies find a way to destroy the horror, but this is not an overcoming the monster. So this is not the good thing, the thing that we're looking for. What we're looking for is for the horror to win. Because if the horror doesn't win, we don't have a horror. We have an overcoming the monster. And those are two different stories. And when authors or storytellers don't understand that, is when we have people disappointed with the story because it's a lie. We feel cheated on. So that's in that sense, you are right. You are very right for seeing that. Yeah, and this is something, that's why I have it together when I'm writing, because it helps me see where I'm going with what I'm writing. If I know that this section is section 2, it's downward. I know that is the one about the horror. We know that it's a downwards horror. That means that in section 2 for a horror, it seems the horror was developed to solve a broader issue. No, we could. The horror is set there to create, not to solve it, but to create something deeper. If we changed it for one of the other themes that we have, one of the other genres that we have, and we wanted to write it to be a romance, we'll introduce romantic issues to develop the story deeper. So the horror, the third genre, is there to add complexity to the story. It's never resolved. So if this was a triple romance, it was a heavy romance story. Our here in this section, in section 2, we introduce a character that is where we introduce the love triangle in section 3 or section 2, because in the first one we introduce the meet cute. Section 2 is object of desire, and since this is chapter 2 is right here, it would be how does the third romantic genre affect the overall story. This could be an old partner, could be a someone that's interested. This story is not going to go anywhere, because at the end, if it's a romance, this third genre will end up being underdeveloped. The character is not going to end up with this character, and we know it. The important thing is, how are they not going to end up? Because if they end up together, you don't have a romance but a dramatic third plot. And since it ends before everything else, you are changing the overall story, the overall genre of your story, because, well, or not, actually, it will be underdeveloped. So it would be fine, because at the end, that's not what the story is about. That will be something that might be an external issue for the character, because as we saw here, the third genre, the horror, that could be, as you were saying, that could be there to solve an issue. It creates it so it can solve it. It's the horror makes this a more interesting story. Without it, we could have a full story, but it's not one that me personally I would enjoy writing that much, because I really enjoy writing a mix of horror or body horror with romance. The idea that of being so consumed by love that it becomes horrific. I really like to write those stories. So that's why I've chosen horror, because it's one that I enjoy writing. And I can show you the template, because I created a template with all the stories, and here you can see how there is fantasy, science fiction, romance, mystery, historical fiction, horror, and non-fiction. These are the genres. We have to pick three. The three of them can be the same one, the three of them can be different, but by deciding what we're going to be good at, that allows us to be bad at other things. For example, if we are writing a good romance, it has to be a really bad drama, because what categorizes a romance is that there are romantic events and they end up together. If everything that happens between the relationship is bad and they end up together, we're going to understand it as a drama because it's two people that shouldn't be together ending up together. So that's what makes it a bad drama. But if, on the contrary, we decide that we want to make a good mystery, a good mystery cannot be a good. Well, mystery can be well introduced with any. So the horror here is the horror and the fantasy are treated a little bit as mystery. The other things that I tell you, but at the beginning they're treated a little bit like a mystery. But what categorizes a mystery is not knowing a good mystery that tells you everything like a fantasy. It's not a good fantasy. At the end of the day, has to be a bad mystery because if not, we feel like we didn't get anything. This is not 100% across the board, but as a general statement. Then we also have the opportunity, if we don't want to center it about genre, we can center it around plot. And we can have a main plot about overcoming the monster, and secondary and tertiary plots of quest or rags to riches. That's also another choice that one can have between interchanging the genre with the plot. And then you choose one genre, but you write 3 different plots. Or you can exchange them and mix and match. Because at the end, what's important is that you choose. Once you choose, you can do whatever you want because once you know what you're writing, you can just go brrr, and then you're like, oh, I want to write what the enemies want instead of writing it at the beginning and over complicating your story. You write it in the section in which the enemies gain things, and you let your reader enjoy the story as it goes. Then, but my stories are based on emotions. I want to write things that people can use and improve their lives by following what these characters do. So we have this what I call, well, I'm sure other people call it like that because it's a combination of words, emotional alchemy. So which emotions interact with how emotions that interact with each other change the character. So by these 3, this story introduces these 3. Introduces guilt, fear, and shame, but we also introduce acceptance, pride, and understanding. So we have these 2 things against each other. And what makes this story interesting is how all these things interact. Because we have plenty of personalities, plenty of things that happens at the same time. And by choosing which ones we talk about, we create a unique story. Because the things I choose to talk about in each section will be different to the things you choose to talk about. And having multiple plots where you can just write how you're feeling about a specific topic. For example, in this first one, let's imagine. Oh yeah, and we introduce one of the most important themes that I like to introduce is the idea of choice. What does choice mean to the character? So we have that as one of our big motivators. So it's the concept is introduced in section 3 in a way, and then section 5 explicitly said, because it's where the MC really needs to learn those things. And as we can see, we have explicit things being said vertically and horizontally, and they are bigger when they are horizontally, and they're smaller when we think about them vertically. So then we have, for example, how the magical animal and the MacGuffin, what do they mean in the overall story? In my stories, the magical animal will always mean connection. The MacGuffin will be power, and the personal interest will be a personal connection. Who are they connected? Personal. So we have the great scheme of things, and then we have the small. We have the close, and then the context when it comes to where. And those things are going to give us a big understanding of what's going on. And we sacrifice plot speed to gain plot deepness. So it's all about deciding how and when we are going to interact with the information. And yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but well, you didn't have any question actually. I just started talking because I like geeking on this. Thank you for listening. As they say, I was ironing your ear, planchándote la oreja. Hi everyone, I'm back. I don't know if you could, well, I know you couldn't hear me because I was muted, but I'm back. Very well. I was talking to a godhead that, well, they didn't even ask me anything. They were just telling me about their experience watching the stream, and I just started talking. Yeah, yapper problems. Hmm? Oh, you're watching? That's hilarious. Yeah, then now we have these. Okay, let's see. Uh, yeah, since she's the rake, we have to start introducing that rake personality. Characters that I would say that they're rakes are Indiana Jones. Actually, let's Google that. Which characters are rake? The rake. Mm, the rake. Mm, he is someone that characters rake characters in pop culture. Clever Green, Melissa, Missy, Portrait, no idea. I don't know who these are. I don't know who these people are. Well, mm, invariably presented as a despicable, if wealthy person who thrives on scheming and intrigue, married and abuses. Well, he's someone that here they're talking about it as a villain without any context, and that's another thing that I liked. And Najara here, she's rake like, so she's seen like what was the formation of the rake. I think we're going to subvert. We're going to subvert the trope because I don't like it just being like this abusive character. Is a character that's tough and doesn't take cheats by no one. That's the main characteristic. Usually gets reformed by an interest in the end. yeah, like then like yes, exactly. That's something that I like about this character. The Rake, halfway through the story, usually gets to become like a drug addict. It's someone that doesn't control doesn't have good personal boundaries. So because they don't have personal boundaries, they indulge. So they are indulgence characters. So now instead of just understanding them as the caricature of a sexually active male, we're going to subvert it. Now the rake is the one of the female interests, the the main interest of our character. And what does the rake? What makes the rake the rake? What makes Najara a womanizer in a way? What makes her self-indulgent? Because someone that's sexually active is not just like, oh, it's a good thing. It's not, or it's not, it's a bad thing because he's active. It's a bad thing. They're the one to test the boundaries, the how where the boundaries could be. Exactly, they push the envelope. They are like they end up being, if they're stars, they end up being like drug addicts. They end up being addicts to their own needs. So they're slaves of their own needs. This this personality is someone that on one way they can be seen as charismatic, but they don't have the charisma of a charismatic. They're more mm, they feel more sorry about themselves than a charismatic they do it because they want to be the light of the room. These ones they want to do it because by gaining something from outside they heal something within them. That's why they test the boundaries. At least that's the way I understand the rake when we humanize it. So yeah, what's the rake going to do? It's going to be challenging. Why is the rake challenging? Because on a way is also shows their own skill, their own capability. Exactly. They get swept by their own desire. Thank you for saying that. Yes, exactly. So let me I'm going to okay. So now how do we show that? Because on one side she's also the rebel, but this part, that personality of the rake is not as important as the rebel. So we have to mix them both with a little bit of horror. So it uh, might feel contrived when written square by square, but once you write it in the big scheme of things, it flows naturally because you stop seeing it as a single unit, and it's easier to introduce from to segue from one thing to the next one. So we still know that it's about what happened earlier, but mm, yeah, it introduces the horrific part. And the horrific part for her, it would be if Hakim passed away, especially if he passed away because she didn't stop these people. So we go. So the good also another another positive of having it like this is that I need 50 words per square. We are way overboard, so I can always remove things that I feel like they don't work well. And if I don't know what to write in this section, I can always go back to this to the left and be like, okay, what is it asking? What and when is happening? What and when is all this happening? Easy. I can just answer those questions as I'm writing. So enough nodes to participate in this query. So where and when is this happening? Oh, they were going down as I said. Oh, what do they do? So what and why? We have, can you travel in time? This is Najara talking. So we have one who, and then we see why. Why does she say that? Because she has the fruit, and we show it. It's not said, but it's shown. The what, the why. So we have the who and why, and then we introduce the where and when. Where and when is the other people talking. So how did you, says one of them, and then we introduce who are they, who said this, the one that is good at doing this. And we probably have enough words to go into the next section, but we haven't said anything horrific. So they said they stand in they adopt a fighting stance. They adopt a what is called fighting stance. Najara starts climbing, but Najara no, she's as I thought. Najara said, turn around and jump to end, jump from branch to branch, up the tree. The tree open, stood there, frozen in place. And with this part, we introduce the horror is that we have already seen these people. We already know how strong they are because they could fight a creature that Hakim couldn't. So we know that these people are strong. And despite them being strong, they're weaker together than Najara. The fight Hakim had to escape from in the first chapter, them they're escaping from Najara because of how strong she is. So this is already storytelling that if you don't want to read chapter 1 and you skip directly into chapter 2, you won't understand. But you're still getting a full story because you're still getting the idea that they're strong, but you don't know how strong they are until because you'd be missing that context. And as shown here, every event is connected. So let me show you something. If you wanted to have one type of story, you would be able to read just the chapters with Hakim and you'd get a complete story. If you just read the stories with Najara, you'll get another type of story. If you read Asami, you get another type of story. But if you read all of them, you get the entire idea, everything that happened. But me, I don't force you to read nothing. I won't be like, oh, you have to read every single thing to understand. No, no. Even if you just read the title, you already got the story. Just by reading the title. You don't want to read my book, don't worry. Just read the first chapter. Just read the first sentence. You got the story. Oh, just read the open any chapter on the book and you're getting a full story. Whose story it is, that depends on you. What point of view you get, that's on you. But at the end, you end up getting a full-on narrative experience. Okay, I'm missing the last square and we'll be able to leave. We've been here for 3 hours and that would be the last square of this section. But this is the last section for us here on Twitch. If you want to keep experiencing this, well, or you come live with me where you can see me when I write, or you come here to TikTok where you cannot see the screen but you'll be able to hear what's going on. That's on you. That's one of my 2 or 3 million, if any of the 3-4 million people that are watching me on Twitch. the 5 million viewers that I have already. Not only here on Twitch but also on TikTok. And absolutely. Okay, this section is where we're going to close it. And since she's formed the fruit, here we say what it means that she has to drop it. It's the ending of the downwards trend, and we're going to get introduced into we're creating some drama to get introduced into the quote unquote, I say that too much, into the positive trend. That would be where she finds Hakim. But that's how that one ends, because everything happens very quickly. We are developing now vertically. Vertically development is quick. You have 50 words to say what you want to say. Well, I have 50 words to say what I want to say. And those 50 words are divided in 4. So there is that. In the what? Repeat that. No, it's I guess you could say, because I'm writing and outlining at the same time. I have the entire book outlined and written. Now I'm making sure that everything fits in its box. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. These ones are fear, shame, and guilt. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Twitch, thank you very much for being present for so long, for being part of this experience. And we'll be back tomorrow like usual. It's only said to be 2 hours, but once I start writing, I don't decide when I stop. It's the typing who decides. And the typing decided that we're done after 3 hours. So we were here for 3 hours. That was a lot. We have gone through some emotional ups and downs. So, wait, sorry. I'm here. I was talking to you also. Well, now you can hear it too. Why not? That way you get similar experiences. So, Twitch, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Probably come back sometime later. Maybe with more writing. Probably not. Maybe doing something else. Who knows? Who knows? This is just how it works. We are finding out what we're doing. So, tag along or not. That's your life. So, bye bye.